What's up, Ram fans? Welcome back to another Tuesday night of CTV Sports. I'm Madeline Davis.
And I'm Leah Cackowski. Here's everything we got on tap for you tonight.
The Green and Gold came out this weekend successful, marking their second win in a row.
Volleyball also celebrates Ag Week with an electric in-conference sweep.
Women's tennis and soccer have stayed nothing but busy. And lastly, a little spin on one of our favorite segments.
All of that and more right here on CTV Sports, which starts right now. CSU Ram football celebrated Ag Weekend with a roller coaster dub, defeating Utah Tech with a final score of 41-20 in nearly a 4.5-hour duration. It is truly thanks to the second half regrouping that they were able to pull this one off. The Green and Gold came out quick and ready at the start, putting up 14 points in just the first quarter. However, the momentum didn't last for long, with lengthy weather delays deflating the Rams, as the Trailblazers were able to catch up and answer, allowing only a 4-point deficit at halftime at 21-17. And okay, I know things were looking a little nerve-wracking going into the second half, especially since Colorado State only has 2 wins out of the last 5 meetings with an FCS team. But CSU regrouped and just truly ran away with the offense, eventually scoring the most points at home since 2017. And while yes, Utah put up a field goal to start the third quarter just to have a 1-point trail to the Rams, Colorado State took off from there, as Van Shield was able to have his first touchdown run in his first ever start, as well as per usual, Dallin Holker and Torrey Horton closing it out in the fourth, Utah never being able to keep up. There were a lot of great takeaways from this game, even despite the temporary loss of momentum. Crucial learning curves involved dealing with length of play and learning how to adjust and regroup when getting put down. For example, Brayden Fowler Nicolosi turned the ball over 3 times, yet was still able to move forward despite challenges as a raw quarterback. Here's what veteran Torrey Horton had to say about his performance. He's a confident quarterback, and he told us he's going to fix that mistake in regards to turning the ball over, and that we'll go back out there and execute, go back to our roots, and go back out there and score. That's something that's a huge jump for him since he's a young quarterback. A lot of the offensive players really see that, and we like that mentality he brings to the offense. Mistakes are bound to be made, but again, Fowler is showing that he can bounce back because look at his ridiculous stats. He threw for a whopping 462 yards, the third best output in a single game for a Ram. Wow. This is also the third game in a row he's gone for more than 300 yards. Pretty impressive to me for a rookie starter. Other players to mention are, of course, Horton and Holker. I mean, it's just automatic for them at this point to be on the leaderboard. But we have to mention the defensive side of things as well, as Fowler never got sacked and the D-line continues to dominate, with the whole unit completing 7 tackles for loss as a whole and 3 sacks overall. CSU enters conference play this weekend with their first test being the other Aggies of Utah State. Hopefully their growth and momentum will take off on the road.
Before football kicked off, the Ag Day festivities had already started when we saw Rams volleyball get their first sweep of the season against reigning Mountain West champs UNLV. This matchup was a special one for first-year head coach Emily Cohan, as she was going against her childhood best friend, first-year UNLV head coach Malia Shoji. But thankfully for Ram fans, it was Cohan and the rest of her team that came out on top. This match started on the right foot for the Rams and only went up from there. Overall, CSU kept strong, but also UNLV just looked really bad. This didn't look like the Rebels we expected. But for what has been a bit of a rocky start in conference play, at least comparatively, it was big for the Rams to take this one the way they did. When looking at the numbers, you can tell exactly how the Rams executed this match, and that was confidently and correctly. The Rams had a wildly impressive .473 hitting percentage, which is a massive improvement from their previous recent matches. Once again, it was the Malia Jones show, with Jones racking up 9 kills in 1 block, and after 2 impressive games this week, she earned herself honors of Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week. Jones had this to say about her match on Saturday and how she's been executing as of late. I was just seeing what was the most open and being really smart with my shots. I think that's something I've been evolving all season, just being smarter. Jones and the rest of the team are currently playing in a matchup with the Wyoming Cowgirls for the first game in this year's volleyball border war. We will have more on that one in a bit.
Moving on to the pitch, Colorado State soccer had a long bus ride home as they lost 4-1 to Boise State this past Sunday. And well, accuracy and depth just played in the Broncos' favor. The Green and Gold had a decent start, scoring first in the 12th minute from none other than Olivia Fowl. But after that, it wasn't even close, as Boise State managed to take it away from there, with 4 different scorers putting up numbers all in the second half. And well, that's just what's so frustrating, as CSU had the same amount of shots on goal, it just didn't go to their favor. Olivia Fowl can't be the only asset on the offense, as this was her 8th goal of the season, the next coming at 2 from Liz Stutzman and Katie Coffin. Like I said, Boise State has more versatility on their offense, leading them to victory. And okay, yes, Boise State is sitting at 2nd right now in the standings, but this performance will not be enough for the Green and Gold, as they currently hold the number 8 spot in the Mountain West, with just about a month left until tournament comes around. Hopefully, the Green and Gold will be able to climb the ladder and be ready for competition.
It was a busy weekend with half of the women's tennis team at home this weekend for the annual John Messick Invitational. Fort Collins got to see matches from grad student Zara Lennon, junior Sarah Weekly, sophomore Luana Avalar, and freshman Logan Vokes. Weekly got to repeat her championship result in doubles, where she took the top spot once again this year alongside Zara Lennon. Dubs was the only area where the Rams took home a championship, but Sarah Weekly also made it to the finals in singles, where she fell 3-6, 2-6 to Wyoming. Both Zara Lennon and Luana Avalar took home 3rd in their respective draws. Logan Vokes also took home a dub on Sunday in her bracket 7-6, 6-2 against Wyoming. Every week, this team is seeing improvements and hopes to improve on what was already the best season in program history last year. And they're definitely going in the right direction, as the other half of the team qualified and are now competing at the ITAs in North Carolina. But we will recap that event next week. In the meantime, let's switch to a team that isn't even in season yet.
Yeah, Madeline, while the men's basketball team may not be hitting the hardwood just yet, we still have some news. The in-conference schedule was just announced for the men, and it looks like to be a competitive season. Beginning conference play with New Mexico at home and then going back and forth from home to away. The Rams will have their hands full with this in-conference schedule, as there are a few different teams that could really win the Mountain West. But with a bunch of transfers and some players returning from the injuries, the Rams could be as likely as any team. Madeline, what do you think about this upcoming men's season?
I'm excited for one.
Me too.
College basketball is, aside from baseball season, my second favorite season of the year. In my mind, there are 2 seasons: baseball season and college basketball.
And college basketball.
And so I'm very excited. I think it'll be really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what teams from the Mountain West are good again this year.
I know. Like, is San Diego State going to come back with fire? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, San Diego State, I forgot they literally were in the finals.
I know. Like, and the thing is that we almost came close to beating them
in the
year.
Mountain West tournament.
So that's kind of why I'm like, okay, like, is Isaiah Stevens going to bring some fire with his 5th year and like new guys? I can't wait for this season. I think it's going to be great.
I think it's gonna be a fun one. I like how they're playing some of the tougher teams first. Like,
yeah.
Boise is our 3rd home game.
I know.
Normally we don't play Boise until like the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let's test it out at the beginning and see what's working and what's not.
I know. Yeah, we play SDSU, and like I think there's only 1 or 2 games in between home and away. We play them home first, which doesn't normally happen. Like, I don't know. It'll be an interesting season. I'm very excited for it.
I think so too. I think once we get out of the non-conference and into conference, hopefully like the team will kind of get their grooves going with all these new players and stuff. So hopefully by conference we're gonna be good.
I really hope so. I mean, I think we have a nice out of conference schedule.
Yes.
It's tough, but nothing like aggressive.
But good though. Yes.
It's like good tests that are gonna build us up for conference. And as we know, like the Mountain West, it's a serious basketball conference.
100%.
As much as people don't like to agree,
It is. It is.
But that's enough about basketball for the moment. When we come back, Rams, we will be doing some live updates, and make sure to stick around because Nolan Teubel is still up next.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Men's golf, courtesy of sophomore Matthew Wilkinson, picked up their third top 5 finish of the season. Wilkinson started things strong yesterday, and with that momentum, pushed himself into the top 10 at the Mark Simpson Colorado Invite. The Colorado native finished with a 5 under 67 in the final round. 2 other Rams joined Matthew in the top 30th as Connor Jones tied for 11th and Christopher Bleer tied for 29th. Overall, the Rams finished the tournament 10 under. The highlight of Wilkinson's day was his 2 strings of 3 birdies in a row, Jones posting the second best round of the afternoon with a 1 over 73 respectively. Up next for CSU Golf is one final fall tournament Halloween week at the Cal Poly Invitational.
And as of about an hour ago, Rams volleyball began their border war matchup just north of us in Laramie, Wyoming. And here is what things are shaping up as of right now. So currently, the Rams are in the 3rd set, and I hate to say it, but Wyoming has a 2-0 lead right now. But keep in mind, the sets have been really close. The first set was 25-22 Wyoming, and then 25-23. So yes, it's been really competitive, but the Rams have not been able to seal the deal quite yet. Some key players, though, Kennedy Stanford does have 9 kills, which is to be expected, and Yoshimoto has 11 digs, which is pretty impressive as well. Both teams has 6 blocks, but CSU has more kills, so I'm really hoping that they're going to be able to turn this one around and take it up north. And right now, I'm going to switch it over to our feature reporter, Nolan, who has some pretty cool in-depth stories about 2 of our best football players.
What's up, Ram fans? I'm Nolan Teubel, and this week was huge for the boys in green, or should I say orange. Torrey Horton and Dallin Holker had a strong game last week, and frankly, every week for that matter, they consistently proved to be dominant players. But here, let's take a closer look into their recent success.
Fowler Nicolosi fires in the back of the end zone, caught! And Torrey Horton.
In all of the madness that is CSU football, 2 offensive weapons have risen to the top and have been monumental for CSU's recent success. Star wide receiver Torrey Horton and tight end Dalvin Holker have been balling out and making a name for themselves this season. Horton had one of the best games of his career this past Saturday, putting up 3 touchdowns and 227 yards on 10 receptions. He led all of college football in receiving yards for Week 5, and his 11.3 receptions per game and 135 yards per game now lead the country. But Horton's season success came long before this Saturday, making one of the most unbelievable catches against CU to keep the Rams alive in the nail-biting ending a few weeks ago, and again against Middle Tennessee, putting up 2 touchdowns. Horton is on pace for a record-breaking season, but he isn't the only star offensive receiver. Here's what Horton had to say about new addition Dallin Holker.
It's going to mean a lot. You know, they're going to eat up the middle. It's going to drive the defense crazy. You know, good tight ends will, you know, of course, be a headache for the defense. You got to worry about another big, fast receiver type guy.
Just into the end zone. Touchdown.
Holker recorded over 100 yards in 2 of the 4 games, while also recording at least 1 touchdown for each. While he does not appear as an explosive player, his 42-yard touchdown last Saturday would like to say otherwise. His numbers speak for themselves, and he has been making huge plays for CSU. With a lot more football left in the season, it's going to be exciting to see what Horton and Holker keep bringing to the table. Not to mention what other celebrations Horton is going to electrify the crowd with.
Just what the doctor ordered.
It clearly looks like the team is having fun and they're winning games while they're at it. It seems like a new football culture is upon CSU, and I think all of us couldn't be more excited. Now Rams, don't go anywhere, because after the break it's time for Hot or Not, but this time with a little twist.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up 1 finger if you're a man, women 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Welcome back from the break, Rams, and welcome to another edition of Hot or Not, except for this one, it's going to look a little different. This week we are going to each pick 1 team from 3 different leagues that is the hottest and one that is the coldest. Now, although Rocktober is not in full swing this year, unfortunately, as sad as that is, there are other teams on the diamond that have proved themselves worthy of the title. And some of these, not so much, perhaps. I think I'm going to kick this one off.
As you should.
As you should.
Yeah.
Obviously, as the resident baseball fangirl here.
Hey, me too now.
Yeah. I'm going to kick this one off with a team that I think is really hot right now. And a team that I personally, is my personal pick to win the whole thing. The Baltimore Orioles.
All right, all right.
Which, if you would have asked me 2 years ago,
No.
when they lost, get ready for this. You think the Rockies are bad? Guess how many games the Orioles lost 2 years ago? 110.
Oh, okay.
2 years ago, the Baltimore Orioles lost 110. Last year, I think they had about 85 wins. This year, 101.
Oh,
In 2 years.
my gosh.
What's changed?
What changed?
Yeah.
They got Adley Rutschman. they got as what the media likes to call them, the baby birds. They were so bad for so long. They got all the #1 draft picks.
Yeah.
And they finally came into the league. And so they have crazy good young players. I mean, Adley Rutschman, he literally changed. He was the start of it. He changed things. Gunnar Henderson, I believe Gunnar Henderson is about 22, fantastic player for them. They have another kid who I am never quite sure how to say his name. He's also very young, and if you put him, Adley Rutschman, and Gunnar Henderson in a room, I don't think I'd be able to tell you who's who. His name is Helson Kierstad, probably from Scandinavian descent.
Something.
But he came up later in the season. He's been very impactful for them. Overall, what they've done to just turn it around is insane to me.
Well, when I think of the Orioles, I think of one of the most historically worst teams in the MLB.
Oh, yeah.
No, and
even as a little kid, when you got the Oiler when you got them, sorry for when you got them you were like, oh no, because they were never winning games ever. Never.
No.
Well, like you said, the fact the Rockies have the worst record this year, to turn around that quickly in just 2 years is very, very impressive to me.
It is.
And the swagger that they got going on,
I know,
they got
it's
some confidence.
so
They got young
good.
players.
Well, yeah, and everybody's talking about, they won the AL East, which was not expected.
No.
At all.
Not at all. The AL East, don't even get me started on the AL East with the mess of the AL East.
No,
it was.
But they weren't expected to win. And everybody's like, oh, it was a close race. It was a close race. It was a close race because Tampa Bay had their historic start. Where they were 15-0 or whatever. But if you take away those 15 games, Baltimore blew everyone out of the water. The only reason it was even close was because of that crazy start that Tampa Bay had.
Yep. And
I think this team is hot, and I think they have a chance at the whole thing.
No, Madeline, I agree with you. Like, I think that's crazy. I have another team on the national side of things because here's the thing. Everybody is talking about the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves and the Orioles, I feel like, are the two teams I have been hearing the absolute most this year, right? Because it's like, okay, they're doing awesome. They have Acuna Jr. on the Braves. My team, I think, is hot, though, that they're not getting nearly enough credit. You're not going to like my answer.
I know what your answer is.
The Dodgers. The Dodgers. The thing is, here's the thing. The Dodgers have been one of the most dominant baseball programs in the last 10 years. You can't argue that. They have not missed the playoffs since, like, 2013, right? They've been in 3 World Series, okay? They lost to the Astros, which, whatever. And the Red Sox I'll accept because, you know, Red Sox haven't won in a while. That was in 2018. But the thing is, they have 100 wins this year, too.
Yep.
They have 100 wins.
I believe it's 8 out of the past 10 seasons they have over 100 wins.
Yes.
Wow. It's crazy. And they are a sleeper team. As much as I hate the Dodgers, as much as I hate to admit it, they're a sleeper team, and people didn't talk about them because they offloaded people in the offseason. They didn't re-sign Cody Bellinger. They didn't re-sign Justin Turner.
No.
They only gave Clayton Kershaw a 1-year deal.
Yes.
But they come out, and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, they have taken over this team.
I know.
I mean, you know, you didn't expect them to be good. Walker Buehler's been hurt all season.
Yep.
People were like, the Dodgers, they're going to be fine, but, you know, people were like, the NL West, it's up for grabs. Everybody thought it was the Padres.
I know.
Everyone thought the
Padres.
Padres were going to be the team. They thought they were going to blow everyone out of the water. Padres, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
That was one of the worst disappointments I've seen in a long time.
I mean, personally, I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. I love to see the Padres just burn in flames.
I know.
But honestly, yeah, the Dodgers are a sleeper team in my opinion, and they're getting overshadowed by the Braves, but I think they have a chance.
And, I mean, again, they got players like Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy, JD Martinez, Mookie Betts. They all have over 30 home runs.
I know.
So, who do you got? Who's your team?
Well, I got the Twins.
Alrighty.
It's kind of like one of those subtle. I didn't pick a team like you guys who people are kind of expecting to do good, but I feel like they do have a good team. They just won their first playoff game in how many years you said?
18.
18.
Well, I mean, 18 playoff appearances.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was their first. Yeah, it was their first playoff one in 18 appearances.
Which is huge. And when you do that with a team like that, that builds momentum, and you can feed off that, and you can go far into a playoff run if you have that.
I mean, yeah, you know, we've seen it before. I mean, you know, take 2019 for example. The Washington Nationals. Everyone was like, this is by far the worst team in the playoffs. Like, how did they even get the wild card? They barely won. They won on an error in the ninth inning from the Brewers.
In the outfield, right?
Yes, they won on an error.
That was so bad.
Turns out, Washington goes on. They dominate the Dodgers, dominate the Cardinals, absolutely crush them. And then they go and they win the World Series.
I know. And I mean, again, the Twins are playing the Blue Jays, which I hate the Blue Jays. I mean, I feel like Yankees nemesis half the time. So, yeah, I think the Twins,
The Twins are they could be
they're a contender.
Yeah. I want to see them do well. They're a fun team.
Me too. And I mean, although Colorado and New York are both not in this baseball postseason, baseball still has an incredible, playoff time to come. But moving on to the second league in discussion, we'll be talking about who has been proving themselves in the world of college football and who maybe have had a fluke of the first couple of weeks. Who do you got, Nolan? Who's your hot or not football team?
Okay, so my hot or not is actually lukewarm. It is CU.
Okay.
They did play a crazy good team. Caleb Williams was having another Heisman caliber season. I mean, he's my favorite. The first half looked horrible for CU, to be honest. They didn't look like a good team. I thought it was going to be a blowout. And then they come back, their young quarterback, Sanders, comes back, has a crazy good fourth quarter, and they only lose by a touchdown. Yes, it's at home. Yes, they look bad the first half. But this is still good. Their offense is hot. Their defense is cold. So that's why I'm putting them at lukewarm.
I could argue, though, that even USC, for your own argument, is not. Like, it should not have been.
I don't think it should have been as close.
No,
like,
it should not have
been
at
as
all.
close. They should have ran away with that, especially after the Oregon loss that Boulder had. Like, honestly, that's inexcusable for me on USC's side. But Like, yeah, Boulder's in a very lukewarm spot right now.
Yeah, they
I would
are.
say.
And next week it's going to be a test if they're playing Arizona State. So if they gotta win.
Yeah,
They have to. If they wanna be
Arizona State's
considered.
so bad. So
Yeah, no, literally.
If they lose that one, they're cold.
Yeah.
I agree. I think CU, they definitely, it's the defense that gets them. It's the fact that they, they're going out there praying and hoping that they can score 50 plus points every game, and if they don't, they're kind of screwed.
Yeah,
and if they can find a team like Oregon that knows how to stop their offense, they don't really have a chance.
No, I know. And again, like, they have more wins than they did all last season and more than we did.
True.
So, but I mean, my team, I think, is a total not.
Okay.
Boise State Broncos.
Okay.
You know why? Because they were undefeated in conference last year, right? They were one of the best teams, okay? And this year, they already are 2-3. Like, they're not that great, I don't think. And everyone always puts them on a pedestal, and especially in the Mountain West. And we're playing them in just a couple of weeks for homecoming, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, CSU's never beat Boise State, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're not looking too good right now.
No.
Barely beat San Diego State.
Man, am I excited for this game.
That's inexcusable. I mean, San Diego State,
They're a good team, but they're not that great. Didn't they just get killed by Air Force?
I wouldn't call San Diego State a good football team.
I mean,
they're a basketball school. Let's be real here.
No, they are. And again, Boise State lost to Memphis. I think Brayden Fowler Nicolosi is doing way better than their two weird quarterbacks that they keep switching in and out. We were looking at that, but yeah, Madeline, who do you got?
I have a team that I personally think is pretty hot. We're staying in the Mountain West for this one. Shocker. I got Fresno State.
Oh, okay.
Fresno State, they're undefeated. They're ranked 24 in the nation right now, which is huge for a Mountain West football school. I mean, the Mountain West has been known to just be terrible. They're playing Wyoming next.
Okay.
So it's
and they're blowing teams
they
out.
are blowing
Besides
teams
that
out.
first game, blowing. Their margin is they're averaging 36 points.
Yeah.
And their opponents are averaging 17.
Yeah, I believe they're on, dating back to last season, they're on like a 15-1 run.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I mean, they're, in my opinion, and if you look at their side of the Mountain West schedule, the only kind of test to me is Boise.
I know.
Yeah.
And you, I mean, you're going on and saying Boise's not
I'm
that
going
good.
off on Boise right now.
I think Fresno State has a chance to have an undefeated season.
They could take their place, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and this season of college football has been full of a lot of things, excitement, ups and downs. But we're gonna move on to the last league of this night, which is volleyball. Leah, do you want to take this one away?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna start with a team that we talk about a lot here at CTV for obvious reasons. That's Wisconsin. I think they're super legit this year. I think they have a chance to take it. They are still undefeated. They haven't played Nebraska yet, which that's a huge rivalry. But coming from last year, losing in the Final Four, that scandal that we all know about that has been talked about many, many times. But again, they've proven that they can bounce back, and they've proven that they are able to be there, compete, still hold the Wisconsin reputation. So for me, I'm thinking they're hot, and I think they're legit. And Nebraska did have the most sold out women's sporting event in history, but we'll see what happens when they play each other. But I think Wisconsin is my team.
Yeah, I don't think they're hot. I think they're on fire. You cannot have a better start to a season. To be honest, I think really Nebraska's the only one that looks like they could beat them.
Yeah.
Both of them are undefeated at the moment, and Wisconsin just won the last 4 games 3-0.
Yep.
They make teams
not
not even look like teams.
And it's
not like
not like they're playing in some dinky division where
No,
the teams aren't
they're playing
good.
big schools, and they're killing them.
Yeah.
They are.
There's not a doubt in my mind that Wisconsin is legit.
Yeah.
Who's yours, Nolan? No.
So I have CSU actually.
Ooh.
It's another team I'm going to say warm to lukewarm. I really, really hope that we can start playing a little bit more consistent. We have some great players though, and they do play great sets. It's just sometimes we get to the end of the set and it just doesn't go our way. It doesn't.
They struggle with closing it out.
Yeah, that consistency factor. We just need to get that.
It's something. My team is a little bit of a surprise one. We're sticking in the Mountain West for this one. I'm going with Air Force.
Oh.
Air Force they're having a shockingly good start to the season.
They are.
And this is a team that is not historically very good. They're 11-4, 3-1 in conference. They just beat Utah State in 5 sets. A team that we lost to.
Yeah, and lost pretty bad.
I mean, CSU has a reputation of absolutely smacking Air Force. I personally think it's a little bit of a fluke, but we'll just have to see where it takes us.
We'll have to see.
it would be fun to see another Mountain West team come out of nowhere.
Right.
But well, Rams, that's all the hot and cold we're here to discuss tonight. As always, join us here next week for another edition of CTV Sports, and have a great rest of your night.